The art tax passed by Portland voters last fall requires all adults 18 years and older to pay $35. You can apply for exemptions if you're below the poverty line. For individuals, that's $11,170, and for a family of four, that's $23,051. If there are two income-producing adults in that family, they need to pay $70. If the tax isn't paid, there is a $15 penalty, and after 6 months, it's an added $35 fine. And many immigrants and those who aren't internet savvy have had problems finding out information about this arts tax. Joining me now live is Dante James, the Bureau Director of the City of Portland's Office of Equity and Human Rights. Good morning. Dante, are you there?
I am. Good morning to you.
Thanks for holding. I called the City of Portland helpline last Friday to find out how non-English speakers could help regarding the arts tax, and I was told the language is available, and I believe this would be appointment, but please correct me, is Russian, Spanish, Cantonese, and Mandarin. And with Portland's fast-growing international community, I wonder what steps the city is taking, to help create more awareness and help immigrant communities and elders and those too poor to afford the internet access to find out more about the arts tax and how to pay for it.
Sure, and I certainly appreciate the question and the concern. It is a concern that the city is aware of, and my office is certainly aware of, and trying to be helpful in addressing. In trying to reach out to various organizations in the community to spread the word that focus on refugees and immigrants from the community and those that English is not their first language, or those who maybe not be so internet savvy, such as ERCO and CIO, and using the Office of Neighborhood Involvement to try to reach out through some of the neighborhood organizations and try to reach as many people as possible in as many ways as possible.
Well, are there plans? I mean, well, first off, a postcard in English was sent out in February, and I confess it didn't have much information on it, and it's something that I sort of went, oh, well, I guess I'll pay that later, and I just sort of chucked it. Mm-hmm. What will the letter cover, and when is that going out?
The letter is going out at the end of this month. I believe March 27th is when it's expected to go out. Everyone should receive, around the first week of April, a letter detailing the tax and the expectations for payment and or exemption, and how to request an exemption if you are in fact below the poverty line or did not make any income even though you're over 18. And so that should be received by the first part of April.
And are there plans to include other languages as well?
At this point, I'm not aware of any other plans, just because of the cost involved in doing that and the way that it was structured when it was passed. Only a certain amount of money could be spent to collect it, and that includes information and the outreach and everything else. So the Revenue Bureau is responsible for the oversight of the information and the collection, and so they are in some sense hamstrung by what they can spend to do that, which is why trying to outreach to as many bilingual and bilingual serving organizations as possible is the way that they're trying to do that.
Well, here's my concern, and I know you shared this with me, is that someone who is not an English speaker gets this letter and they need to have it translated. They need to have access to somebody. A lot of immigrants live in isolation. So it may take some time to do that, and they may not be able to do it by April 15th. So what happens then? I mean, because by that time they're going to have to pay $50. Yeah,
and so what I'll tell you is, as we speak, the city is in conversation to adjust that deadline. It's a conversation that has been maybe a long time coming, but it has been recognized, and I think if you saw the newspaper yesterday, the mayor put out a press release that they were going to take the council an opportunity to revise that so that the actual income requirement is changed. So it's still something that is being looked at to try to make it the most being done in the best way, I guess is the easiest way to say that. And so the changes are still coming out, and so I expect that there will be an adjustment in the actual date.
You think there'll be an adjustment in the deadline then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I would just encourage you to keep checking back on the website, because I think those things are changing even as we speak. Those discussions are happening.
And to give out, I'll be giving out the phone number as well. But that's going to be really crucial for a lot of people.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and so, so regarding the penalties, even after the hopefully with a delayed deadline, how are you going to handle collections and fines and enforcement?
Yeah, in my speaking with the Revenue Bureau again, they have spent most of their efforts in trying to get the information out, as well as receipt of all the money that is currently coming in. People are paying, and given the fact that collections aren't even a conversation until, or aren't scheduled to even happen until October, they truly haven't put any specific process in place to do that. So it's not really a conversation that I can have, because I'm not involved in doing it, but I know for a fact that they have yet to put in place a specific process by which collection or enforcement will be done.
Do you think there'll be any specific plans to go to radio stations, language-specific radio stations too? Because that's how a lot of people, and KBOO is really great about this, because we represent so many different communities and different languages quite often. So definitely, we can put the word out here, but it would really be helpful for people, to be able to send information like that to language-specific stations, because that is the heartbeat of many communities.
Absolutely, and I think it's great that you're trying to spread this word, because I think it's an important message that everyone has to file something, either pay or an exemption. So everyone over 18 has to file or has to have something filed on their behalf, and that's the message I think that's most important that needs to get out. I don't want people to feel that because they are below the poverty line or didn't have to file state or federal income taxes, that they're automatically exempt and there's nothing they have to do. That's the wrong message. The message is really everyone over 18 who's lived in the city in 2012 has to file something or have it filed on their behalf.
And are those forms available online? I mean, they're all only available online, so most people would have to go to the city and then get the forms to fill out if they don't have online access?
They'll mail the form to you if you call
okay.
the number, 503-865-4ART, or 4278 is the number, and they will mail the form to you if you ask it.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. But often, that can also take time. I mean, if you go down to the office and ask for it because perhaps, you have language difficulties, then, it'll take time to be able to do that, or it will take time for it to be mailed to you. So hopefully there will be a deadline announced soon, as far as a new deadline announced soon. And do you expect that any day now?
I do.
Okay.
And so I would, as I said, just kind of be on the lookout for that as it's in transition. But I would expect it to happen, yeah.
Well, I know that this is a whole new tax and a whole, new measure that was passed. And so obviously there will be things that need to be worked out. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about that today, because it is a concern for all of us.
Mm-hmm. No question. And certainly from my office's perspective, and talking about, equity and ensuring that things are rolled out, if you will, and the services provided by the city in an equitable manner to everyone, it's something that I've been concerned about in trying to ensure that the message gets out in the way you're hoping that it gets out, and that everyone receives it, and no one is burdened, more than others in how this is approached. And as you said, it's brand new. It's just being rolled out for the first time. Just as in anything else, there are hiccups here and there, and I truly think that the city is very trying to be responsive in addressing some of these concerns as they're being brought to their attention.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time today to tell us more about it and to keep us updated. And please do keep me updated, and I will spread the word with any new updates as we go along.